Hello, I'm MPX and I still remember this exact moment when Minecraft showed us this, something that blew everyone away because Minecraft themselves were going to be releasing a graphics pack that could make the game look like this. It was going to be available for pretty much every platform, and for so many in the community, this was the single most exciting thing that they were waiting for, and wait they did, because 3 years later, Minecraft just decided to cancel it and then replace it with RTX, only available for people on PCs with very specific graphic cards and hugely limited performance. That's what you're going to be seeing gameplay of during this video, as we talk about times Minecraft crushed the community's expectations when people were so excited for the future of something, and then that future turned out to be little to nothing, to sometimes even less than nothing. Yes, let me tell you about that, but let's start with my favorite example, the thing that inspired this all, because I read a thread about the Desert Well from 2012. 10 years ago, the Desert Well came to the game, and people were hugely excited about what this might possibly be, because this was Minecraft's first ever above ground structure. So much speculation was raised as to what this might be. I mean, it wasn't just going to be nothing like water in a desert, and so people speculated it might be some sort of ancient Egyptian ruins that could perhaps lead you to a mine shaft below, or it could be the basis of access to a new sky dimension. The excitement of the community that you can see in this Minecraft thread is almost heartbreaking when you compare to what has happened over those last 10 years, because 10 years later, there is no use to the structure besides finding water in a desert, something which has been made significantly more common by the updates that have come since then. So it's actually gone down in its uses over that time, and even when you look at the other small structures in the overworld, the igloo or the witch hut, they do have rather niche uses, but at least that is a form of purpose. I think this highlights exactly how weak old structures are when you compare them to new structures. Look at the size of the first 3 structures they added to Minecraft, and then compare that to 3 recent ones: the Deep Dark City, the Bastion, and the Woodland Mansion. The size and definition of what structure really means is changing a lot, and I think that Minecraft could really do with a structure update to improve these lesser, kind of forgotten about structures from the past. Some people might say it's un-Minecrafty to change a feature like the Desert Well that is so iconic, but I would argue the 2 structures they have updated recently were significantly improved and add to the Minecraftiness effect. I mean, look at the mine shaft and look at the village, and then look at the mine shaft and look at the village from before, and you can see that, yeah, they're just significantly better now than they previously were, just like Minecraft was as a whole before the invention of democracy. That's right, Toycat's coming out hard against democracy, and let me tell you why. In fact, I don't need to use words, let me just show you a picture. 2017 was a really exciting year for Minecraft. Not only was Better Together coming out, not only had we heard wind of the super duper graphics, but also for the first time, Minecraft was going to let us, the plebs, vote on a brand new feature coming to Minecraft. There were 4 mob designs that were created with the specific intent of us voting on one of those designs coming to the game, and the other 3 of those designs being permanently removed. By a very narrow margin, the community eventually did decide on Mob B, which was described as the monster of the night skies, and was later renamed to the Phantom. This was technically our fault, so I can't blame Minecraft for crushing expectations here. I do have to say that one of the most communities complained about mobs is this one, because it punishes you for not sleeping, something most people would argue doesn't seem so fair, given that 2 out of 3 dimensions in Minecraft will punish you like this for trying to sleep in a bed. If I can't go to sleep, why should phantoms start spawning when I haven't been asleep for 3 days? I've been in a place where time doesn't exist. How is the phantom keeping track of that? And that's before we mention the fact that, yeah, you might just be underground. You might just choose not to sleep, and you already have the punishment of, you know, like all the mobs that spawn. Why should you also be punished by one of the most annoying mobs that has ever graced Minecraft? And so, yeah, this is technically our fault, I'll admit, but Mob B was a big mistake, and even worse than this, all of the other mobs, Mob A, C, and D, a monster of the deep seas, a monster for the nether, like a mega blaze boss, all of these different concepts are binned forever. They confirmed that was what they were going to do. They have since confirmed that, yep, we're still never bringing back these concepts. It's sad, and we have somehow made Minecraft worse, and then also removed 3 of the coolest ideas for mobs ever. There was going to be a mob that could eat your enchantments, which nowadays seems useless because the grindstone exists, but at the time that was a revolutionary idea, okay? Speaking of revolutionary ideas, how do you feel about the idea of like a Minecraft game that kind of works like Pokemon Go, but it's Minecraft Go? Because I want you to Minecraft go to the subscribe button, because I would prefer it if you saw more of my videos, and that's the easiest way to make it happen. And you might have forgotten the subscribe button exists, because who uses it on YouTube anymore? But it does boost my ego, just like how Minecraft Earth probably boosted the ego of whoever came up with it, because it was a Pokemon Go style game. I'm just saying that because that's what most of you are familiar with, where you have to explore the real world to get blocks that you could use to build inside the game. It was really fun because there was a level progression system, and there were all sorts of unique characters and mobs you could only collect inside the game, and then you could share your build plates with other people that you saw in person, and there were all sorts of weird events where you'd be getting lots of ores and stuff together. It was a really hyped game before it came out. This trailer didn't really show much gameplay, but still got people interested. They got a ton of YouTubers to play the game for sponsored videos because they were sure that when people saw this game, they would be willing to download it. And as best we can tell, a lot of people did download the game when it was made available, because they insisted on launching it country by country at a time, meaning that if you lived in the UK, for example, you couldn't play the game for months because it was only available in Iceland and Japan and New Zealand. And you know, it was a game that they slowly launched country by country in a way that I'm sure is really great for people who don't live on this damn island. What is wrong with us? Why didn't we deserve Minecraft Earth at the same time as everyone else? But ignoring that issue, the bigger issue is the fact that the pandemic hit. That's right, Minecraft was affected by COVID, and so Minecraft Earth was the first Minecraft game that didn't get discontinued because of the limitations of the hardware. Take, for example, Xbox 360 and PS3 Minecraft, or because the company went bust, like Story Mode and Telltale Games, but Minecraft Earth was just discontinued because of COVID-19 and the effects it had on the game. It makes a lot of sense that during a pandemic, fewer people can go outside, and so yeah, I guess they had to shut down the game for that reason. However, does that really actually make sense? Look at similar games in the genre, Pokemon Go and Zombies Run, and they've continued to be supported, updated, and make money during a pandemic. Why can't Microsoft do so with Minecraft Earth? Either they weren't making a profit before, or the game just wasn't as successful during that time when people were focused on other things. And so the way I always took it was that Minecraft Earth was meant to make more money than it did. Either they were making a loss to develop it, or they were just hoping on some big break. And when they lost that big break by, maybe things going so poorly, they decided they weren't making money from it anyway. And so goodbye jobs for the people working on Minecraft Earth. Goodbye all of that progress a lot of people had made. Minecraft Earth was kept around for a few months. It was a nice sunset period that they gave everyone access to free microtransactions. You know, they showed how good the game could have been in the first place, and then it went away forever, proving the danger of a game that only exists on a company server. As soon as that company doesn't find it profitable to keep the game up, then you're not going to be able to play around with it anymore. Next up here, I need to talk about the combat update. Not combat update v2, combat update v1. 1.9 was a very divisive update, and a lot of people find it to be one of the worst updates Minecraft's ever made because they changed combat entirely. Personally, I love that you can have a tool in one hand and you can have torches in another. However, a lot of people see this as a separate set of features to the way combat works, and they hate that you have to wait before clicking again if you wanted to do full damage. This hugely changed the dynamic for PvP, and in a lot of people's opinion, it made it more connection-based, because if you missed your click on that exact thing, now you have to wait while your opponent doesn't. All sorts of different enchantments became more powerful, like the punch bows, for example, or knockback swords became a lot more powerful because now you couldn't damage people so much, but you could knock them back. And so these changes to PvP, plus the changes they made to the way modding worked in Minecraft, meant that a whole community of Minecraft players, server owners, and PvPers never moved beyond Minecraft 1.8. That is something that has slowly started to change in the last literal 8 years since the update came out. However, it is one of the big divides in Minecraft. They announced they would have a combat update, and they had a ton of really fun things like new arrows and lingering potions and the end cities, but the ultimate thing that stuck with people was the cooldowns and the changes to how tools do damage. Why does an axe do more damage than a sword? And so as a result, this update never came to the Bedrock Edition, and their plan was to release a second combat update, and that was going to fix everything and bring parity to the two versions. And it's the year 2022, and we only have a vague idea that they're going to be working on it probably soon. So yeah, that's your idea for just how bad the combat update went. They don't even know how to fix it, and they've been trying for many years. The closest thing to a modern equivalent of an entire update just being kind of questioned by the community at large has to be the cave update. This was a community desired update, and props to Mojang for delivering it. There was a 96 1,000 vote post on the Minecraft feedback site that made them consider this in the first place. It was the most suggested update for a very long time, and so when they said at Minecraft Live they were making a cave and cliff update, the community went wild. They set our expectations so high with the idea of, oh, there's going to be this warden and a deep dark biome, and also there's lush caves and dripstone caves, and who knows what else they could achieve, and boy, were we excited as a community. That was 2020, however, and so 2021 rolls around, the expected release date of June is approaching, and it turns out that actually, no, they had to split it into 2 updates, and we're like, fine, this is okay. I mean, we don't have the warden in the first update, but we're going to get a ton of new cave biomes, including the deep dark, and it's going to be really fun. Then, the second part of the Caves and Cliffs update comes out. It finishes everything except the warden, and also archaeology, and also bundles, and also the goat horn, and also all of the sculk blocks, including the sculk sensor, and so basically a huge amount of the update was held back even past that second part. This probably would have been less disappointing if we'd seen more cave biomes in the cave update, but there were just 2 separate cave biomes. There was the dripstone caves, there are the lush caves, because the deep dark didn't make it in, and they didn't make a single other cave biome concept. We saw them play around with every overworld biome and give us 5, technically 6, brand new cliff biomes, but I feel like Mojang kind of missed the point of a cave update. Wasn't the idea to be caves and cliffs, not to be the cliffs update featuring a couple of cave changes? However, it was still a decent update. Unlike the rest of the things on this list, it wasn't a full fail. It was just one of those examples of, man, you listened to what we wanted and somehow you missed what we meant by cave update. It was 2 words, Mojang. I can understand why it's so hard to understand the beauty of Big Salmon coming to Java Edition. Don't get me wrong, I understand Big Salmon is a hard concept to get through, but cave update, that's literally 2 words. And that's also why it's complex to say the next example, because hostile mob variants were a really exciting premise that Minecraft was working on for a bit back in 1.10. 1.10 is one of those updates, I don't blame you if you don't remember. It was the Frostburn update, it released in 2016, and it's probably the weakest major Minecraft update in the last decade. They added polar bears, magma blocks, red nether bricks, and probably other things somewhere in there. The 2 features I actually was kind of excited about were the idea of the husk and the stray. These were variants of the standard skeleton and zombie that were found in specific biomes. The strays being in the frostbite biomes and the husks being in the hot ones, giving you kind of a different feel based on the biome you're in, even at nighttime. The husks, of course, are scary because they survive during the day and they give you an extra effect when they hit you. They give you that hunger effect, which you really don't want to have. And then obviously the strays give you a slowness effect, making the frosty biomes even scarier at night, and I thought this was such a fun idea that we haven't really seen any variants come from in the days since. Obviously, we got the Drowned in 1.13, which was a type of zombie that spawns underwater, and then we got the Endermite in 1.8, which was like a silverfish variant if you really squint your eyes. And I guess if you think about it, the panda bear is just a polar bear with some black spots on him, and also loves bamboo. But like, yeah, there's no real desire to add these different mob variants, because obviously I understand why it's so hard to add new mobs to the game, but having slight different variants of each mob based on the biome they go into seems like something that should be easier and could be a lot of fun. Imagine a spider that spawns in the jungle, but it's huge and green, and oh god, I'm terrified of spiders. I don't like picturing this. Maybe he's tiny and green, and oh god, I also still don't like this. But my point of this is just to say that I feel like having different mob variants could be a really fun way to make the game have a little bit more variety. I think they've gone in this direction a few times and kind of stopped, but what if every biome had more unique features to it? That's something that we could see with structures, but we could also see with this. I think the wild update is a great opportunity. I don't think they'll take it, but I would love to see them do something more of hostile mob variants rather than just introduce 2 of them and then ignore the premise ever since then. Speaking of premises they've ignored, one of the ideas I loved was the marketplace. This was going to be a way to download user-created content, and although there was the little catch that of course it was going to be a paid service, so you could pay for texture packs and maps and skin packs, the idea was that you would be supporting the creators of those works, and so that actually sounded like a pretty fair thing. It's not a system where they get paid X amount and the amount you pay Microsoft makes no difference. No, every single time you buy a map or texture pack, you're supporting the developer by some amount. Microsoft's been very non-specific publicly about that. They've said the lion's share of what they get after the platform takes their cut cut is what is given to people, but that could still mean very low percentages of the pie going to the individual users who make these maps from scratch and are therefore doing the bulk of the work, you could argue. And yeah, it's a really fun premise once you just ignore that little kink, and then also if you ignore all of the other issues with the marketplace. It is a huge store, absolutely filled with content, and it's very tricky to sort through, which is only your first issue, because it also works terribly as a store. There is no refund option. Obviously, I'm not saying you should be able to play a map all the way through then refund it, but most major storefronts let you refund a game within the first couple hours you bought it. Minecraft has a 0-minute, once you purchased it, it's yours and deal with it policy, which is incredibly consumer unfriendly, and in some jurisdictions, literally illegal. There is no commenting system or anything like that. All you can do is you can rate the game once you've bought it, but once you've bought it, you can't refund it. So the worst thing you can do is leave a 1-star review, which isn't a very big deal to most map makers, and yeah, there is basically no quality control process. Minecraft has admitted that it's not their responsibility what's uploaded on the marketplace, it's down to people putting their things up there themselves. That leads to things like this. Yeah, Modern House 2. Wait, if you look at the related maps, apparently they're on Modern House 6 now. Why? Why? What is... What did we do to the world to deserve this? This is what we get instead. Not high quality crafted experiences, people trying to trick children as best they can. And of course, that's just talking about the content side of things and the way you access that content. Let's talk about how you pay for it. One of the most devious things Minecraft does is they use a currency called Minecoins. Minecoins are officially necessary so that you can buy things in the game without having to make an out-of-game purchase every single time you want to give money to someone, which of course makes some sense on that level. However, they try to detach you from the currency that you're actually buying them in by making them convert at very arbitrary amounts. It's something like $1 is 160 Minecoins. So can you tell me on the top of your head what $7.50 is in Minecoins? It probably takes a bit of work. Add that onto the fact that maps can cost these amounts and you can buy Minecoins in these amounts, and it's just incredibly devious. It's the exact same system that poker chips use. If you don't know, when you go into a casino, you don't bet with cash or you put cash on the table, but they give you chips instead, because chips are more detached from money. You're not thinking about $20 or £50. You're thinking about like, oh, I have some chips and I could get some more chips that one day will be worth more money. Detaching people from this money makes them spend more, and the fact that they're using this exact same psychology, which we all do know works, on children that they think are so influenceable that they've refused to add sharks to the game, because if they added sharks to Minecraft, then children are so influenceable that they go out and punch endangered shark species to death because they're little savages. They think that children are so influenceable that they don't know when or when not to punch a shark without being told by Mojang, but also can totally make real decisions about money when it's abstracted from them in the most, clear way possible, in a store where they don't have real consumer rights. I mean, what are we doing here, Minecraft? What are we doing? Can we not admit that the marketplace has not met its original goals? Can we agree that it's one of the big examples of Minecraft crushing our expectations of like, oh, letting people get paid for something? That sure does sound good. No, it's gone, it's over. Speaking of things that are gone and over, the fletching table. This was added as part of Java Edition's 1.14 Village and Pillage update. It was really exciting because it came alongside the stonecutter, the loom, the barrel, and the list goes on. But my point here is the fletching table and the smithing table never got functionality. Instead, they were just used as villager blocks. In 1.16, the Nether update, they turned the smithing table into a really cool way to make netherite gear, and man, that was a really great idea. I loved it. I thought that was wonderful. However, that was in 2019. 2 years later, oh, 3 years later now, Jesus, the time is flying too fast. We still have nothing from the fletching table. There's so many great ways they could use this, but so far the fletching table has been an item you might have crafted and put in your base in anticipation, and so far it's done nothing but crush your expectations. Just like everything else in this video. Wow, do you notice that? That it's almost like there was a theme to it, but I hope you all enjoyed the theme of this video. I hope you found it just as fun as I did, because I can't get over just how enjoyable it is to see the past's expectation of the future. Sometimes we get things really right, sometimes we get things really wrong, but regardless, it's always fun to see how we thought things were going to be, because history is changing every single day, your life is changing every single day, and unlike Minecraft, you can look back at your expectations and say that you actually killed them if you believe in yourself and you try hard. Or maybe you can crush your own expectations, because, I mean, if the world's most sold game can do it, why can't you? And I hope you all enjoyed this video. I hope that you agreed. If not, I hope it's some thought-provoking discussion, because I'll see you all in the next one. Goodbye.